Hi, friends. It's Marvelous Monday. Thank you for joining me tonight. We're going to make this really beautiful Christmas bag or one like it. I am using the Traditions of St. Nick Designer Series paper again, and I just love these little old-fashioned St. Nick's. And then we're also using the gold um, the silver and gold 12 by 12 self-adhesive glimmer paper, which is super nice because it actually adheres itself to your cardstock and it makes for a really great bag. So this bag measures 8 inches by 9 inches tall, so it's pretty large, and then it's 3.5 inches deep. So it actually will fit a lot of different things like games, puzzles, dolls, all kinds of goodies. You just add a little bit of tissue paper and you're all done, and a tag, of course. Okay, so let me show you the dimensions of this bag. So the bag starts from a 12 by 12 piece of paper, cardstock, and you're going to use actually two of them. And you're going to do the exact same thing to both of them. Now, this is another one of the 12 by 12 pieces of the Traditions of St. Nick. And as you can see, the other side doesn't match or coordinate with this designer series paper. So typically I would make a bag and I would fold over to make this pretty little band around the top. But because it doesn't coordinate, that's why I'm adding the glimmer self-adhesive paper, because I think that that will add a really elegant look to my bag. So again, the dimensions, we're starting from a 12 by 12. We're going to score at 8 inches, 9 3/4, 11.5, and then you have this little 1/2 inch that you will adhere your bag together. And then you'll turn it 90 degrees and you'll score it at 9 inches. Again, if you have paper that coordinates really nicely, you can score it again at 1.5 or 2 inches and fold it over, and you'll have a really pretty band, but you'll have a shorter bag. So these dimensions are able to be altered depending on how deep you want your bag. If you want your bag deeper, you can do 6 inches and then you can do a 4 inch. You'll need to measure it out to make sure you always have a little strip that you can use to adhere. Okay, so let's get started. All right, I've got two of them here, so I'm going to take one away because we're going to do it twice. So 8 inches, 9 3/4, and 11.5. Then at 9 inches. Okay, so that's the bottom. Again, 8 inches, 9 3/4, 11.5, and then 90 degrees, 9 inches. Okay, so I'm realizing I actually didn't finish this template for you. So you can see where I scored on all these lines, but actually what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to trim a little section out on both of these. And actually this whole piece is going to get cut away. Okay, so I'm going to cut a small sliver from the flap and a bigger sliver from the end flap. And then I'm going to trim a little bit up here as well. Okay, so we'll do this on the cardstock now. So I'm going to look for the score marks and I'm going to cut straight up for the biggest flap, and then I'm going to trim a little triangle away. And then again over here, I'm going to trim a little triangle away, but I'm just going to continue up to the corner, and then a 45-degree there and a 45-degree here. Okay, so this is one half of your bag. Okay, and then the same thing for this one. Let me get this out of the way. Oops, grabbing too many things. Okay, so once again, straight up for the flap, and then at an angle, make sure that I've got this all the way up to the score mark, and then add a little angle on this side of the flap, and then a 45-degree here, and a 45-degree there. Okay, so you can use your bone folder before or after. So this is going to be folded this way. I'm going to just make sure that all my edges line up nicely. I want the top to line up nicely. Now I'm not going to fold it here in this middle one because we're going to use that when we pinch the bag together. Because remember, we're going to need to make holes for our ribbon. Okay. All right, so that's one part. The second one. And remember, we don't need to fold it in the middle right now. On the edge, we'll just use that to squeeze it together. And I'm making sure that my lines. Okay. So now to put them together, I'm going to use tear and tape. And I'm going to put tear and tape along this band. On the outside facing. I don't want it to show. Oops. Looks like I'm out on this one. When I get them in kits, I like to use up every last little bit. Okay, so. All right. And then I'm going to put some down here on this part. And then I'm only going to put it on this outside portion on one of them. Okay. All right. So the first thing I want to do is take these off. And then I'm going to line this up so that it matches the top of my bag. And then I want it to line up where the score mark is. Okay. So I'm lining up the top of the bag together and with a score mark, and then I'll lay it down. Okay. Now I'm going to do it for the other side as well. So I'm going to put another strip here. And I'm going to put another strip on this flap at the bottom. And I don't need to put it anywhere else. Let me just put a little bit more at the top. Now, before I put this together, I realized that I didn't do my top. So this is the glimmer paper that's self-adhesive. And so I'm going to take the backing off. Let me get it where I can see it really nicely. And I'm just going to peel off a tiny bit because I want to line this up with the top. And I want to be really careful not to get it in the wrong place. So I'm just going to adhere this, lay it down. Probably going to need to bend it again where the bend marks are. Make sure that it's adhered. Okay. So now my second piece, and it's just 2 inches by 12 inches. So it'll just lay along the top again. And I'm going to overlap. Oops. So I'm lining this up, making sure that it lines up correctly. And then I can adhere this side, and then I can slowly pull this away, making sure that it lines up with the top of my bag, because I don't want any of the top of my bag to show. Okay. Again, I'll need to bend it. And I'll need to add a little bit more adhesive right here. And I also need to cut away the 45 degrees. Looks like some of my adhesive backing didn't come in. Okay. So this is what your bag looks like all spread out. Okay. Now I'm going to fold this over, make sure the top lines up. And now I can remove the adhesive backing. This doesn't want to come off very easily. There we go. If you ever have a hard time, what I'll do is I'll just rub it down and then it will help. Okay, so now I'm going to fold this over and I'm going to smooth it down. So now your bag has been created and it has a pretty on the inside. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and actually put another strip of adhesive right here because I'm looking at this where it's going to go together. You can see the adhesive. I need another one on this side to secure it. Okay, so now we can start removing the adhesive backing with a tear and tape. You want to make sure that your bag is squared up before you start getting things to adhere to each other. And so I'm going to make sure I'm going to have to use my hands on the inside in order to get it to adhere to the right place. So a really good idea is to use your grid paper if you have it to see where your edges are, make sure they line up. I can start taking this off. I'm going to make sure that this is still square. Okay. So then you can put your hand right inside and get it to adhere to itself. So now we can squeeze it together at the score mark that we scored at in order to get the edges together, because we're going to need to pinch it to get our holes lined up. Okay. So I like using the smaller 1/8 hole because a lot of times my ribbons, and I'm going to use this satin edged ribbon. I think it's very vanilla and gold, but it doesn't really matter because I'm just doing it for the gold portion of it. So what I do is I'll line up my bag, and I want to make sure that I mark it far enough in where this is not going to get holes in it. So I'm going to go in about 2 inches from both sides. And I'm going to go about halfway down. If you want to, you can get yourself a measuring tool of some sort to make sure that they're, yeah, so this is about 1 inch down and 1 inch down. Okay. All right. So there's my hole. This is the 1 inch punch. This thing is very strong and it goes through just about anything. So it's the perfect punch for this type of thing. Okay. Now for my ribbon, I'm going to use 2 strips of 16-inch ribbon. And if you have one of these tools of some sort, you can just shove it right in and just pull it through. And then I'm going to pull it through and I'm going to create a knot. I'll do that the same for the other side. If you go in at an angle, you'll find it easy to I could have used a little bit less ribbon, but sometimes I want it to be sometimes it goes through nicely, sometimes it doesn't. A double knot just to make sure it doesn't want to come through. And there's nothing like trying to hand a gift to somebody and it falls apart. Hook or by crook. What I mean by a double knot is I'll wrap it around twice. Okay. Right. So here we've got the bag. Now I want to embellish it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a tag. I already have one of the St. Nick's fussy cut out, or if you have the dies, you can die cut them out of this really beautiful paper. I love this other side, but I love these Santas even more. So I'm going to use any of that paper for bags. Okay, so I've got a cute little sentiment, and this is from Brightest Glow stamp set. It's a great holiday stamp set. You can see it's got all kinds of really cute sayings, sweet little sayings. Some of them just really beautiful um, that are for the Christmas season. So, okay. So I'm using copper clay because that's the color on this bag. It's kind of a non-traditional Christmas color. And I'm going to put this over to the left as far as I can. Okay. Okay. Now I'm using more of this gold shimmer paper with self-adhesive back, and I'm going to add the little tag top. And then I'm going to use some dimensionals to add this Saint Nick to the side of my tag. Now I don't want to cover up the verse, so I can see that I'm going to need to put maybe pieces and not full ones. So I usually use the edges when I need pieces, but I think I can put, let's see, some full ones behind the tree. And then I'm going to use a piece down here of where it adheres below on the tag. Okay. So I love the tailor-made tags. They're so great for this time of year, and they have two pretty styles. This one is one of the smaller ones. It's extra from something else that I was working on. And I have some extra Christmas trees that I've cut out. So I'm just going to add one of those as well. And you can still put to and from or use the back of the tag. Okay. A little more bling. We'll use some festive pearls. Okay. All right, now I'm going to use a small piece of the gold. This is the Elegant Trim in gold. And usually I'll feed my tags like this and then feed it through. And I've got a great gift tag that I can tie onto my bag. Okay, so I want to add something to this bag. So it's got a bow because I really love bows like this to my gift bag. So I showed you guys how to make this bow a little while back. So I want a bit of a tail to go down, and I'm gonna go through my fingers and back and forth in between the fingers. And I'm gonna go 3 times. Actually, that one I did 4, so maybe I'll do a little bit more. So it's little bit prettier of a tag. And then I cut it where I have a little bit more room than what I need so that the tails are going to be comparable when I'm done. Okay, so once I'm done, then I feed it through like so, pull it, and I want my bows to be about the same size on both sides. Okay, pretty? All right, now I'm going to use, I think, some dimensionals to adhere it to this bag. And then I'm going to tie my tag below this bow. And you can just tie another bow, or you can tie a knot. It just adds a little bit more to the center of this bow. And if you want your tag to stay in one place, you can always use a dimensional to hold it in place so that it hangs just right where you want it to be. Okay, so that's it. We made this bag in less than 30 minutes, and you can replay this and watch it later on YouTube. I'll have this loaded up tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Aren't these gift bags just gorgeous? So beautiful. Just need to add paper or tissue paper and my gift, and I've got 2 more gift bags for Christmas. All right. Well, I'll see you again on Friday for my Friday Get Together, and we'll be going through the second half of um, the coordinating. It'll be Warm Wishes, and the one we did last week was Home for the Holidays, and I'm going to show you how you can make not only the tree holders, but some great cards. All right. Well, thank you, and have a great evening. I appreciate you joining me tonight.